welcome back to Gears, where as you can see, we have the bottom of the Swamp Sprite all torn apart, and we're in the process of fitting those new axles under here. Now, as is typical with most projects, we found some stuff that was good underneath here, but we also found some stuff that's bad and needs to be replaced, which is why the most important thing to any project is that you understand how it's put together and why it's built the way it is so you can fix it properly. So, if you've ever wondered how a tracked vehicle or an amphibious vehicle is built, come on under here and take a look. Okay, the main frame consists of these outer heavy square tubing frame rails that support the axles and tracks. Now obviously, these are damaged and are very rusty. So these are going to need to be replaced. The outer frame rails are welded to heavy square cross members to create a ladder-style frame that supports the engine and the drivetrain and the weight of the body. Now all of these cross members are in good shape except the front, so that will need to be repaired. Then, as you can see, a much smaller framework of angled steel is built off of the main frame to create the shape of the body. Now obviously this angled steel framework is not very strong by itself. But when you rivet aluminum panels to it, it ties all these frames together and adds considerable strength. This is the basic concept behind the unibody that joins the frame and the body together to form one unit. So, to repair something like this, all of the rivets need to be knocked off and the panels removed. And then any nasty or rusty frames need to be repaired. Then we'll just make some new skins out of aluminum and rivet them in place, making sure to use plenty of sealant so all of the seams are watertight. Because if this thing doesn't float, we kind of defeated the purpose. Now, while we're dealing with the skins and the frames and the axles and all that other stuff, we also need to be considering what is actually going to make this thing move, and that is the tracks. Because if you remember, the original tracks were shot on this thing, and you can't find replacement tracks at your local tire store. But you can find them in Canada at a place called Right Track Systems. Check it out. Right Track Systems has been making tracks for over 20 years, and their goals are simple. Offer tougher, stronger replacement tracks, and offer track conversions for vehicles that are currently running tires.
And we're sending them all over the world. So we're really still the only company building an over-the-tire rubber track for trucks and trailers and these large pieces of equipment. So we have a lot of customers in mining, forestry, construction throughout the world that are needing our tracks to be able to get in really soft ground conditions, maneuver their equipment up and down hills and into sites and reclaiming roads, that sort of thing.
Now, there are several types of track systems. Heavy metal tracks for dozers, full rubber tracks for skid steers, and the most common for snow and all-terrain vehicles utilize rubber belts and separate metal grousers. And this is the type of track that Right Track Systems specializes in. They start by choosing the right belting for your application and lay out the proper length and the hole spacing.
We reuse belting that has been in large mines, and that belting is usually about 3 to 4 times the strength of your standard tire. So it really helps prevent any kind of tire wear or damage or puncturing when a customer is using our tracks in the field.
The second part of the track are the wheel guides, and these bolt to the grousers underneath, which in turn bolts to the belting. Now the wheel guides not only give a place for the sprockets to engage the track here, but they also give the bogie wheels something to run on here. Now these side guides keep the track from sliding side to side on the bogies and the sprockets when you're turning. Now, since our original wheel guides were completely trashed, Right Track Systems made us some new ones that work perfectly with the bogies we're using as well as the sprockets. The third and final part of the track are the grousers or the cleats, and they not only tie everything together, but they also supply the traction to dig into the terrain and move the vehicle forward. Now, the Swamp Sprite used a unique cleat design. Notice that these have a drop center. That helped the vehicle turn. But if you'll notice, every 5th cleat does not have a drop center. Now, Thiokol designed this to where that these would act as paddles and help move the thing in the water, but there's not too many of them to where it affects the steerability of the drop center. It's a simple but ingenious design. So it was very important that these be reproduced properly. And as you can see, Right Track Systems did a great job on that. And that's one of their specialties, custom tracks for custom applications. Going to be in ice or snow? They can weld ice picks onto the cleats for extra traction. Going to be on pavement or sensitive areas? They can build cleats out of polyurethane for a soft touch. The best part is, all of these parts on the track are replaceable. So if you mess up a cleat or a wheel guide or a belt, you can replace it and just keep going. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, man, it'd be kind of cool to have a tracked vehicle. Well, it might be easier to do than you think. Take a look.
Probably our most popular applications are going to be for semi-trucks, tandem, triple, and single axle semi-trucks and trailers. We also build a lot of snowcat tracks, skid steer tracks, agricultural equipment, and then just basically custom ATVs and utility equipment.
So, as you can see, you don't necessarily have to have a rare swamp sprite to have a tracked vehicle. You might be able to bolt tracks onto something you have now to give you the best traction and flotation you can imagine. And that is worth thinking about.